Hello, and welcome to another episode of Cubs on Tap. I don't know if you can hear. Is that my dog in the background? I got my headphones on right now, so I think it's my dog that's barking. But anyway, special Friday edition of Cubs on Tap. Wish it was a little bit more joyful. I mean, to me, it's never a bad night when you got. This is actually kind of disgusting. It's the Guinness Extra Stout, but it's been something that's been crack 'em. It's been something that's been sitting in my fridge for a while, and I was like, you know what? It's about time we need to bust that thing out and just get rid of these things at this point. But, anyways, Cubs lose tonight, 3-1. Your final. Tariq Skubal outing. A little frustrating tonight, Nick. How are you doing tonight?
You put it best, man. It was frustrating. I actually have something here. You can see it. It says that sucked.
That sucked. You had to write it out to feel better, didn't you?
To feel better. It once I wrote it out, I was like, it was a good release. I was like, yeah, it sucked, but we're in a good spot. So did it suck that bad? What really sucked was Ben Brown just had a hell of an outing against Skubal.
Yeah.
You couldn't get it done. You had a lot of runners in scoring position. You had 9 hits. We're going to dive into this thing, but frustrating is a perfect way to sum it up. I mean, frustrating for sure. You can't complain too much with the way the team's been this year, but you could be frustrated for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's just it. That's why the show is titled this tonight, Frustration in Detroit. I just it's you get the AL reigning Cy Young Award winner on the mound, and you're in the game because of how well Ben Brown pitched tonight. The 7 innings, 2 runs, what did he have? 7 Ks tonight. He was outstanding, and it's frustrating when you get that good of an outing from a guy who has been up and down, and the broadcast even mentioned it. That run that he gave up, or the first one, it snapped a scoreless inning streak dating back to the last outing of 10 2/3 or something like that. I mean, he really built off of his last outing, and I mean, he was dotting that fastball. He was moving it up. He was moving it away. He let a couple of them leak, but it was just so the way that he got out of trouble too, and was able to strike out pitch when he needed it, and just continue on like that nasty breaking ball with all the whiffs.
Mm-hmm.
You feel for him, because how many times has he not had it this year, and the offense gives him that run support?
Exactly.
And tonight he just needed a little bit, and he got really nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And you put it best. I mean, he was spotting that fastball, setting up the breaking ball. That seems to be the biggest difference with him just being a lot better lately, is he's got that swing and miss stuff when he needs it. Like you said, when he needs to go get it, he gets it. And yeah, I mean, he didn't have the support tonight, and it really sucks. But you still got to give him his flowers, because that was just a hell of an outing. And to go against Skubal like that, I was nervous. I'm sure all Cubs fans were nervous when you saw, the slate of Ben Brown versus Tariq Skubal. It's scary. And he performs like that. And then your offense just lays an egg, and it sucks, dude. It sucks, especially when you have an offense like this year's offense. You expected a lot more, and it's not like you didn't have the opportunities. And I think that's really what's most frustrating for me on the offensive side is like I think they were 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. And as you said, like they had second and third, nobody out. They had a couple prime opportunities to score. They ran them into a couple outs. They kind of beat themselves tonight. And it sucks because it was a start of a premiere series on a Apple TV. Screw you guys for that, by the way. That just sucks. But
Yeah. I know. We all don't like it.
we don't like it. We can blame Apple TV for this one. Tonight,
Sure.
right?
Let's
blame Apple TV for that.
Yeah.
Because the Cubs didn't look like the Cubs tonight. But
if they lose on the 4th, it's Apple TV too. On the 4th of July.
Exactly.
Can't believe it. Cubs Cardinals game on the 4th of July is going to be on Apple TV, dude. That's a tradition for me, watching the 4th of July Cubs. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, I'm not going to sit here and lie and act like I've watched every single Cubs game there ever has been because we all have lives.
Sure.
And the radio is sometimes just as good too. Obviously, Pat and Ron, fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
But, dude, I have not missed a 4th of July, and I'm still not going to. I've watched this game, obviously. Where there's a will, there's a way. But, and Scott from Iowa, I don't know if he's not here yet. Maybe he'll be here. I don't know. We're starting a little bit late. But he actually said to me, just go ahead and do it now and then cancel the subscription. You get a full month and you'll get through that Cubs Cardinals game on the 4th of July for Apple TV too. I was like, okay, that's how you play the system, baby.
Yeah.
That's how you play the system. So that was awesome. But no, man, I'm okay with blaming Apple TV. Absolutely. I don't know about you. I do like that option is there even on Apple that you can switch to Pat and Ron, which is absolutely the move.
That is great.
I did give them a little bit of a chance on Apple just because I like to. I know Pat and Ron, right?
Yeah,
that's the voice I know. That's the voice I love. That's
the best.
That's the Cubs to me. Pat Hughes is the Chicago Cubs more than anyone else is. Pat Hughes is the Chicago Cubs more than Tom Ricketts. But I like to give the national broadcast a chance just because I want to know what their thoughts are about my favorite team.
Sure.
And I want to know what their thoughts are just about baseball right now as a whole. Whether I agree with them or not, I just want to hear a different perspective sometimes. So I gave them a little bit of a shot for the first, few innings. And then I was like, okay, this ain't working. And it's not just because of them. It's because they aren't doing well. I need to switch it to Pat and Ron.
Switch it up, yeah.
And nothing worked tonight, Nick.
Nothing worked. There were a couple moments where you can get really excited about, and their defense just turned it on, made some spectacular plays that just took the wind out of your sails. There was a couple times I shot up from my couch and then immediately just looked down at the floor and stared down at the floor for a good 5 minutes of did that just happen? And it's interesting because PCA, he always is out there in the outfield robbing guys at a 5% catch probability, making it look routine, and then he's on the other side of it tonight. And you could just tell he's like, oh, that does not feel good.
Yeah, I'm used to doing that to people. What are you doing to me?
Yeah, so you got to feel what that's like, and it doesn't feel good. Doesn't mean he's not going to do that to other people. He's going to continue to do it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was just disappointing all around. I mean, I just wanted to see them come out of the gate a lot stronger. But when you go against a guy like Skubal, this is going to happen. You're going to have games like this where you're just outmatched. And that's what happened tonight. Makes it all the more worse that Ben Brown just had such good stuff.
Yeah, I know. And even for him to get through that, I think it was the 6th inning when I started to get worried about him. I think he had allowed the home run at that point to Torque. But I started to get worried about him around the 6th inning because the loud contact, the one right after that, was hit pretty deep. He had some loud contact that got out of the inning. He got pretty lucky. I don't want to say lucky is the good right word, but he pitched through it. And then the seventh inning, he came out there and pitched well. So, or got through
Yeah.
the inning. So
Went
I had
deep.
to get my words on that. He went deep tonight. Like
Yeah.
he was pretty efficient even with those strikeouts, man. And it is. It's like, how do we feel good about this game? Because that's the only thing that I can like sit there, and it's a big thing nonetheless.
Yeah.
Hang your hat on with Ben Brown because, like you said, man, Tariq Skubal he's the bar. He's the bar for what a pitcher is in this league right now. I have some stats here that I'll probably pull up in a little bit about Skubal that I saw that were thrown out there. But man, it's wild to watch what he's done the last couple years, and I don't feel bad about losing to when he's pitching and you're facing the best team in baseball record wise on the road. But it's a frustrating loss nonetheless, and I'm sure we're going to talk about why here in a little bit.
Yeah, and like when you can hand the ball to Will Vest and just let him just clean it up and just finish it up, like as soon as he came in, I'm like, well, there's a really good chance this thing is over. Like he just wiped him out, and just for Skubal to go that deep and then just hand the ball over, it just takes it out of you. And he went longer than an inning, so it was. Yeah, they went to him.
Went to him early. Yeah.
So it just sucked, and then that Seiya Suzuki hit in the eighth too was right there. We talked about it off the air. I don't think it was a rob, but it would have tied the game for sure.
Yeah, and I just want to let Ron know I saw your tweet. If you're going to watch this back or you're joining us, Ron. Yes, we were talking quite a bit before we hopped on here. That is why we're starting right now. Also want to let Daniel Barry know, hey, everyone, happy Friday. Happy Friday to you, too. Matthew Watley says Ben Brown was awesome. So, absolutely. But no, yeah, that was frustrating. They went to the big gun there, too, a little bit early. And, dude, it just went from stud to stud.
Yeah.
From first pitch to the final pitch for the Tigers. And but like you said, Seiya Suzuki, he hit two balls tonight. The one to right center that was in the deeper part of the park, that's a home run in 16 ballparks out of 30. The other one, which was, like you said, the way that we watched the replay, it didn't seem like it was actually a rob. Like I don't know, it's close. It's tough to tell, especially like in fast, Or
I don't think it's getting out though.
I don't think it's getting out in that ballpark.
No.
I just think it looked like it was robbed, but that's a home run in what, 7 other ballparks too. So he still struck it, and that's what's frustrating.
Oh yeah. It's really frustrating because they made some solid contact tonight. They had 9 hits. So that's what really like boggles my mind. You look at the box score here, and it just doesn't make sense to come away with 1 run, especially with this team. And like we talked about, it being aggressive on the base pass just didn't work out for them tonight. Throwing out, stealing Shaw, great throw to nab Shaw there, but just they were able to foil the Cubs' plan of playing small ball, trying to be aggressive. Can't get the home run. They try to resort back to that brand of baseball. The Tigers just had every answer in the book. And it's pretty – I don't know about you, man. It's just crazy still that we're talking about the Detroit Tigers as the best team. It's so weird. Yeah, it really feels weird. But, man, they're good. All around, they're a really good team. And I'm sure we'll talk about it more. But watching Javi, being on the other side of a Javi, it hurts. Now I know what everyone else was feeling when he was a Cub, and he would just pull off those plays. It's just right here, right to the heart, right to the heart. Like, oh man. I
enjoyed. Like, it sucks the way that the way the game turned out. Like, if he would have made those plays and the Cubs win the game, I'm like, oh, we got everything we wanted. Like, we got great El Mago to watch. and then the Cubs still won. You know what I mean? That's how I've
Mm-hmm.
always felt about former Cubs when they're playing against the Cubs. I'm like, I want this guy to hit 3 solo shots and the Cubs to win 4-3.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
that's
Yeah.
how I always have. But man, he made a nice play in the hole. He backhanded, really few nice plays, and then the one up the middle was a really nice play. I mean, yeah, Javi was all over. Riley Green made a nice play and left, and then Kerry Carpenter, of course. No matter if it's a rob or not, that's just a fantastic catch. Like
Yeah.
the Tigers' defense, and on the other side, their defense was really good, but the Cubs' defense, that play by Matt Shaw, I know it's frustrating, but that's a very tough play. So I don't even
It
want to say, and they didn't even mark it as an error, which I thought was the right scoring decision.
Yeah, I was happy with that.
It's like, man, like the ball was just not bouncing the Cubs' way tonight. That's how.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great way of putting it, man. Like things just didn't go the Cubs' way at all, and that's a perfect example. It wasn't an error, but it was a play that we know he can make. Certain times when that ball bounces a certain way, he's gonna make that play. It's just the ball didn't bounce the Cubs' way tonight. I mean, that's a great way of putting it. And you're gonna have nights like this. It's just amplified because of once again, Brown had a good outing. Your offense did perform 9 hits, pretty damn good. And you wanted to start off this series well because now you're kind of in the hole. And I mean, in my opinion, you've got to take at least one. You don't want to get swept here at all. But 1 out of 3, I think, is a win. I mean, in my book, it is because you're going to come across teams like this and you just got to hang with them.
Yeah, I think 1 out of 3 is perfectly fine on the road to the
Yeah.
best team in baseball. Like we would have been happy if you. I mean, let's just say let's take the name, the Detroit Tigers, out of the equation, and let's replace them with the Los Angeles Dodgers and say that they're the best team in baseball right now. Which, you know, talent wise, that still might be true, obviously. But let's just go ahead and say record wise, that's the case too.
Yeah.
You're not going to be upset with losing 2 out of 3 in Los Angeles. So
No. Yeah, and I mean you didn't lose this ugly either. That's the thing, and I'm pretty happy about that too. This wasn't an ugly ball game by any stretch of the imagination, where you got blown out, everything looked bad all around, miscues left and right. It was just a good baseball team besting you, and that happens. Even great baseball teams get bested sometimes, and that happens. I mean, that's why you can't get too mad about it. We're not getting mad, we're not mad online tonight, but we're frustrated because because it's a Friday night and you want to win. And when you have a team like this that is constantly winning, you have that feeling where you're like, keep winning, keep winning, keep winning. And when they don't, you're going to get frustrated. And that's the fun part about this season is you can get frustrated over these losses and kind of like wash it away tomorrow and just be like, tomorrow they're going to go out there and look like a completely different team. I'm sure they are. So it's still a fun season.
yeah, I mean, we're not going to sit here and get all pissy about one loss, obviously. But like you said, it's we can feel the moment. I mean, play it by the moment, right? I mean, it's tonight sucked. That's what it was. And, tomorrow's a new day, basically. And that's what's beautiful about the 162. Like the 162 grind, we talk about it all the time. Like me and Rich were just talking about the other night about how, when guys struggle and everyone gets all upset about the guys struggling, like, oh my God, what's wrong with them? Well, then they break out and they go, they have a huge 28 plate appearance stretch or something. It's like, oh, they're back. Well, it's almost like, this happens every year across the league with every single player. You know what I mean? Like even the great players go through little mini funks, maybe not as often, but that's going to happen. You're going to have these clunkers. I think the real frustrating part for a lot of people though is like tonight was just that the ball wasn't bouncing. Like, you look back at and I guess we could just get into it. The PCA play
Yeah.
It starts off that inning. I don't remember the inning off the top of my head, so sorry about that. But PCA gets a little flare single, starts it off right. I mean, that's fine. Great speed on the base paths. Dansby hits a double down down left field line, not quite the line, but to the left of Riley Green. PCA scorching around the bags, like we know he's just a speed demon, and you're thinking automatically when he hits the ball, he's got a chance to score. And I think we all are watching the game, right?
Oh yeah.
But he gets close to third, and then watching it live, I did think this, and this is before the council comments came after the post game presser where he responds or he's talking about this play in particular. It looked to me like PCA did slow down a little bit before he even hit the bag. And then I'm like, okay, I don't know if I saw that right. Like, and then, come to find out, well, he's sending him late. Quentin Berry's a late send. And then there's a stop sign how council explained it was because PCA slowed up. So then he put the stop sign on and then, it got in between that way. That was just a situation, I think, where both sides messed it up. Right.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yes, it's on the third base coach to know and to not put up a late send it, but we were talking off air, and as a baseball player, what's the one area when you're running the bases that you know exactly what you're doing and you don't have to rely on your third base coach? It's the ball in front of you.
Yeah.
It's the ball in front of you. The ball is in front of PCA as he's running to third base, that left field ball. He knew if he's going or not. And if he's slowing down and putting up the brakes, hey, sorry, Quentin Berry, that was my read on it. And you know what? The other part of that is it's second and third with nobody out and Nico Horner coming to the bat.
Exactly.
So
I
gotta give a little bit of that on PCA when I know everyone's like, oh my God, the third base coach screwed it up. No, it's totally both sides on this, Nick. That's my 100% thoughts on that.
Yeah, and you know what? I agree with you. I don't have too much to add, but I agree with you 100%. The one thing for me is I think, PC is just being a little too aggressive there because, like you said, there's nobody out. And you got to know your moment there. And if you're going to go, you got to go full. And I feel like if he did go fully there, it'd be close at the plate, but it
would have been.
It would have been a lot.
You risk it in that situation. I don't know.
Yeah. But you don't risk it. That's my thing. With nobody out, you don't get out at third. That's like you learn that in Little League is that you don't make it out at third with less than, if there's
you don't make
out
the first
there,
or the third out at third base.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the rule. But 100%. In this case, it was more, the question was more, do you make the first out at home?
Yeah.
I don't think they had it in their mind at all that they were going to make that out at third base, of course.
Exactly. I would have rather the out have been at home plate. Then I would have been happier with that than what had transpired, obviously, because it's you need to be aggressive when you're going against a guy like Skubal. You're not going to get as many runs in this game. Be aggressive and send them if you're going to send them. But the whole in between, I think it's on both of them. And like you said, he sees the ball right in front of him. And that's why I thought he was being too aggressive there, because if you need to slow up and stop, then you stop fully. You see it there. You know that Javi's going to have the ball. And, that's just a play that I think if PCA could redo, he would redo it. And I think if Quentin Berry could redo it, he would redo it too. I think that's where we can land on that, because it was all around just an awkward play. Like the banner says there, a miscue. It was totally a miscue, completely. And I think it's on both of them. I think that a lot of people are going to look at Quentin Berry and just blame him for that. Obviously, when you have a guy like PCA, you're going to give him a lot more credit just because of who he is with his speed and his base running.
And he's an MVP guy right now.
So. Yeah, exactly. So, like, he's a little less on the hot seat, right? So But ultimately, like if you play baseball, you're going to look at that play different. You really are. You're going to look at this different. Like you say, you don't make the first or third out at third base, and the ball's right in front of you. So, I mean, it's an argument that you can make. And I think that it's not so cut and dry like a lot of people thought.
Absolutely, it's not. It's a total the in between this. You put it perfectly. In between this on both sides. Like this is not to defend Quentin Berry at all because he was in between by putting up the late green flag. You know
Yeah.
that because if you're a runner, maybe because now that I'm thinking about this too. PCA sees the play in front of him, right? He starts slowing down as he gets close to third base. He that's his read of like, hey, I don't think I should go. Then you
Yeah.
see the late green flag, and he might be thinking, oh, maybe the ball got by Javi, or maybe there was a
Great
bobble
point.
or something weird happened, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden he gets this again. So it's like
That's why,
it's
yeah,
such a weird play, man. It's such
it
a
is.
weird play.
I mean, that's a great point that the ball could have gotten away because then your back's turned to the play. As you're rounding the base, now you don't see the ball anymore. And if you see Quentin Berry, then at first here and now here, yeah, that's a perfect point. Like you're like, oh, well, the ball got away or there was an error out there. Now I have a chance to score because why would he send him there?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, that was definitely unfortunate for sure. I mean, it just like you said, the ball just didn't bounce the Cubs' way tonight. It's really what happened on
Yeah.
that play too.
It sucks, man. It sucks, but we got to eat this one.
Yeah.
Cubs. I think we all kind of came into this game, and last night we and Rich were talking. Would anyone be surprised if they lost this first game with Tariq Skubal on the bump? Not at all. I think this
No.
is the game that we looked at and
Mhm.
said the Cubs are probably going to lose this first game. Just given the matchup alone, but I did think, and this kind of went against me. Even though the Tigers hit 2 solo homers tonight or 2 home runs tonight, I thought so. You can't quite call it small ball because the way they got their runs was not all small ball.
Sure.
But last night I said, if this comes into a close game situation, I actually think the Cubs are better positioned, and the reason why was they steal way more bases. I mean, you got a team that's basically dead last in steals compared to one of the top teams in steals.
Mhm.
And they strike out a lot less than the Tigers do, especially against right-handed pitching, which you got Tariq Skubal on the mound. Everyone strikes out against Tariq Skubal, and you barely draw walks against that guy. So it's a catch-22 because the matchup by itself, just in a bubble, it's an entirely different thing. You can't look at your team stat and rap sheet and say this is what's going to happen based off of that, because this game alone by itself on an island is this game alone. Like it's a completely different animal. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a good point. It's a good
But-
point, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just frustrating, man. I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, you got a couple like Matt Shaw, you got a couple more hits tonight.
Mhm.
Kyle Tucker got a couple hits and really he had that nice gapper the RBI. I mean,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
couple of nice things. That was good to see from him, I think, coming back from the injury too now.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I didn't take it the other way like that. And the thing is like the whole thing with this offense is they can just pop off at any time. And so you were feeling that like when's it coming? When are they going to get to him? When are they going to be able to string some hits together and put up a crooked number? And I think with just like such a big ballpark like we talked about, you got to really hit it if you're going to try to get it out of there too. That's the other thing. I mean, it's not as easy to just at Wrigley, if the wind's blowing out, just get the ball in the air and get it out. You're playing on the road here. It's a little bit more of a challenge. So it was a real test tonight. I just don't think that they were fully up to the challenge tonight, but I'm really interested to see how these next 2 games are going to go and how they're going to look, how they're going to bounce back from this. A couple times early in the season, they've had some bad, devastating losses. And then the next day they come back and they look like a completely different team, completely different offense. And I think that this is one of those cases where they can come back and be a lot stronger than tonight and kind of use this as a chip on their shoulder to be, well, we're gonna just shove it down your throats because you did that to us today.
Yeah, I think even looking at the matchup too, you're right. They learn from their mistakes. I think they've shown us that throughout the season that they are willing to take an L and just bounce straight back. Like they don't sit on it. They don't rest on anything. It's nothing's taken too much to heart. Like the next night, the next day is a new day, and the matchup looking ahead at what's on tap the rest of the series. The matchup tomorrow seems to be the best in favor for the Cubs. Like Jameson Taillon versus Kiter Montero, 12:10 start time on Saturday tomorrow. That's a matchup where, especially as good as JMO's been the last couple times out, that's a game where I look at and I say, okay, advantage Cubs here.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't expect anything less from the Cubs than to bounce back tomorrow with at least, maybe they don't get to that 7 spot because of, like you said, you got to put a charge into one to get some home runs in this ballpark.
Yeah.
Right. But I could see them putting up a 5 spot and that being good enough to win the game tomorrow,
Yeah. I mean, I think if you do put up a 5 spot and Taillon is who he is lately, then you should be able to get this. Just a quality start from Taillon would be great. Just 2 runs, 6 innings. If you can go 7, even better. But I mean, the great thing about Ben Brown going so deep is you preserved your bullpen tonight. Like, it wasn't like you had to burn a bunch of arms tonight either.
Absolutely.
That's the other benefit of him just having such a good game. It just sucks that, your offense couldn't capitalize on it, but that happens. I mean, you're set up good for tomorrow. You got your pieces ready to go. And, I'm going to be really interested to see how they look tomorrow. I'm really excited for tomorrow's game. Probably going to miss it because I'll be on the links, but I'll have it on my phone. I'll have it on my phone.
You got it so bad. You got it so bad on the links. We all feel so sorry for you, Nick.
All right. Oh, boo-hoo. I'll have it on my phone on marquee. So
Cry me a river. No,
I'll have it in the golf cart.
Yeah. You'll be watching. I know you'll be watching.
Oh yeah. No,
in between swings and brews.
Okay.
I do have a question for you though. So I put this out there earlier and just posed it as really just a thought, but I'm curious. I realized today as I was looking at, who was rested up for this series as far as the bullpen goes, just going into it, knowing that Ben Brown might not have it, which he turned out to absolutely have it, which I was very thankful. I think we all can say, happy to see that. But I looked at who was available and who hadn't really pitched much lately. The bullpen's been getting quite a bit of rest. And I'm almost wondering if some guys are getting a little bit too much rest.
I saw
Daniel Palencia hasn't pitched since last Saturday. It's a full week of no Daniel Palencia at this point. I love that he's been able to get this kind of rest. But, my question for you, and he's not the only one, Chris Flexen hasn't pitched since last Friday. Ryan Brazier hasn't pitched since Sunday, which is not as long, but those 3 guys in particular. And I thought, if Brown gets into trouble, we're probably definitely going to see Flexen because he can give you the multiple innings.
Yeah.
But my question to you is, how much rest is too much rest for then when they are relied upon in a high leverage role, like Palencia is their closer right now?
Yeah.
Is that worrisome for you at all if that gets into be like a 1-run game tomorrow or something?
It's a really difficult question because I think you can go both ways with it. And I think I lean more towards this way. And you might think I'm crazy. But a high leverage spot like that, and when you're getting those last 3 outs, you're running on adrenaline and you're burning through adrenaline. It's not like he's not doing the things he needs to do day in and day out. It's not like he's not throwing. We know he's probably throwing. We know he's probably warming up, right? So I think if he comes into a position where it is high leverage, he's going to be kicked on. The only thing I am kind of worried about with a lot of rest like that is location. Can he spot his pitches? And that's kind of worrisome with Palencia because that is what has gotten him into trouble before is, walking guys like that and things like that. So I could see it both ways, but I could also see Daniel Palencia coming out hot and in this position of like where you haven't pitched in a while, you got the adrenaline behind you, just pumping 101 top of the zone and blowing guys away. So it goes both ways. Guys like Brazier, I'm more worried about. Like they don't have that adrenaline, they don't have that extra kind of oomph to get them going again. So those are the guys I'm kind of like a little bit more worried about. Flexen, he's been so good that like I don't even want to say it, but you know what I'm gonna say. I mean, he's been so good, he's due, but hopefully not, right? Right.
Well, I mean,
hopefully not. He's been great, but he's your long relief guy right now, one of them. So him not being stretched out is a little disconcerting for sure. Yeah, I mean it's a really interesting question. I saw that earlier today, and I was like, that's a really interesting point. Is how much rest is too much rest for pitchers? Because like every night,
for every manager,
it's a challenge, and like even as fans, we're like, oh well, they saved the bullpen. Oh, they saved the bullpen. How many days is it where that starts to be a negative that you saved the bullpen, right? That your starters went so deep, and especially in this day and age of baseball, where they're used to pitching so much because the starters aren't going as deep. Does that affect them? So. I like that point. I mean, it's definitely something to take a deeper dive on, maybe to just look at like history with that.
What's the data points to back that? Because that's just something that's like that's here. It's nothing to go off of analytically. Right?
Yeah, they're not going off of it. Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
I do think though, like when we're talking about a guy like Flexen, if there's one guy that I feel like can get. I wouldn't say get used to it, but like one guy who can probably do okay with it. Like you said, these guys are still doing their normal routines, their side work, their bullpen sessions. Like Chris Flexen is a guy who's used to that starters every fifth day, every sixth day sort of thing with an off day or whatever. Like Flexen, him not pitching since last Friday, I'm a little bit less concerned about him. But Palencia, like you said, Brazier is probably the one that you should be worried about the most. But I think Palencia has, you bring up a good point. The 101, he's got more of a wiggle room with his fastball. If he misses a little bit location wise, he might still miss some bats. But definitely a great point by you too, where he could go out there with all this rest. He could have 104 in the tank. Like, and that it could be great. Or it could be awful because he could just be, throwing the shit anywhere. And I just think it's definitely a balancing act for managers that I feel for guys like Counsell trying to work this out.
Yeah,
like you want the rest there for the later parts of the season and for the crunch time, but you don't know when you're going to need them, like to step into a game and save your ass. That's the hard part.
It's a good point. Yeah. I mean, you can go to Pomeranz too. I mean, he's more fresh, right? So
true. Yeah.
If you want, you can go to him first.
If you got Keller didn't pitch tonight. You got
Keller. Yeah. I mean, it's a good problem to have, right? Is us going, well, they're not burned out. Like some ball clubs, their whole bullpen is just gassed at this point of the season, and that's a terrible recipe for 162 like we were talking about. So it's not necessarily a terrible problem to have, but it's an interesting thing that managers have to. It's just another layer, dude. I can't believe how much. Yeah, I can't believe how much
the game.
There's so much that managers and for people to be like, oh, I can manage. Like, no, dude, there's so much, especially nowadays with all the analytics and all the bullshit that they have to like look into, and the other teams doing the same thing with the iPads and shit. Like everything, every single pitch is so analyzed, and every batter is so analyzed, and every decision is too. So I wouldn't be shocked if maybe they do have a little bit more like statistics on rest and kind of just the bare understanding of what can we do with this guy and when is too much rest. They might already know.
Yeah, right. I know. I kind of want to. I'm sure they probably have
They might.
something on that because they're so
Yeah.
advanced.
Yeah, I mean, there's so
Way
much
more
out
than
there.
I am from my, office space, sitting back in my reclining chair. Like, definitely more so than that. But it's fun to talk about these things,
It
and
is.
like you said, it's the another layer that you can kind of dive into. And I would much rather have them get that rest than not get the rest and be
Yeah.
overused. I don't want like a Steve Cishek situation.
Legend.
Yeah, legend. But like we don't need that. Like I
No.
want to avoid all those situations more so than what I'm talking about with the how much rest is too much rest. But
Agreed.
couple points here. About the game. Hank Rodriguez said it last year, and I'll say it again. Horton and Brown going to take over the starting rotation. Their velo and overall stuff, top of the rotation quality. Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
both of these guys have that in them. It's just a matter of putting it together and being consistent. It's locating it really everything comes down to sequencing and location because it's not a stuff problem with either one of these guys. I know
Exactly. Yeah.
Brown might need a third pitch and he's working that changeup in slowly, but
But he's got the stuff right now to make it work. He's showing you. He's actually proving me wrong because I was ready to put him in the bullpen when Shota gets back. But he's just making it all the harder to make that decision. He really is. Because
yeah,
I mean, it's tough. I mean, you can't send Horton down under any circumstance. You cannot send Horton down. But you got to make a decision. And that's going to be hard ass decision. It really is. And I
Yeah,
didn't think it was
another
going, I
one.
thought it was gonna be cut and dry with the way Ben Brown was doing. And then they used that opener, and now he looks like a completely different pitcher.
Against the
And they
best
didn't
team in
use an
baseball.
opener tonight. So
No opener against a tough lineup, best team in baseball. Like
yeah, and he shoved. He absolutely shoved. So good problem to have, but it's going to be an interesting one. And I know we're going to have so many conversations up to the point where when Shota comes back. By the way, when do you think Shota is going to return? I think it's the Pittsburgh series.
he hasn't quite went on a rehab, right? He did a bullpen session.
He did a bullpen, yeah. They got to send him on a
Um,
rehab, most likely.
I don't think he's absolutely taking 2 rehab starts. The second and third are probably just to get stretched out if everything goes well that first one.
Yeah.
I think he's probably making 3 rehab starts, and I would say he's at that point. That's another like 15 days from when
Yeah.
he takes his actual rehab. I would say,
Mm-hmm.
or 20. Like, I don't think he's back until the end of June.
Yeah, and the whole thing now with Ben Brown and Horton doing the way they're doing is don't bring him back. It's an oblique.
That's what I'm
Let-
saying, dude.
Yeah.
I've talked about this exact thing the
Don't
other
rush
day.
it. Yeah.
You don't need to. You bought yourself so much time with these wins that you banked.
Oh yeah, 100%. And you need Shota down the stretch when things really matter. Like that's when you're going to need Shota Imanaga. Like deeper in the season, that's when you want him at 100%.
Yep.
No question about it. So these damn obliques, man. These
Yeah.
damn obliques, as you know, are very tricky and they linger. And you want to make sure that they're 100% before you put them out there. Because the worst thing that can happen is you bring them back, then he needs to go back on the IL, and it's just a back and forth thing. You got to wait until he's 100%. And like you said, the time has been bought. Horton looks fantastic. Ben Brown starting to look fantastic. No rush. Absolutely no rush.
Not only is that like a recent thing that I just talked about them not needing to rush him, but like even when this first happened with Shota, I think I had mentioned how this is almost a blessing in disguise of now you get a chance to like let them iron itself out. Like you really do. Like you get a
Yeah.
chance to see these guys, get that taste, get that experience, and work itself out. Like because one way or another, I think if the more this goes on, the longer that he's out, you're going to figure out what the decision's going to become less hard to make because one guy or is evident, or I believe one guy is probably going to be lesser than the rest and make that decision very easy for council. Or, I mean, worst slash best case scenario, they all just pitch fantastic and it's a super hard problem. But if you had to make the decision today, Nick, we don't have to. We're not. Thank God we don't.
Thank God.
Who is the guy that you would remove from this rotation? Like you got it gun to head. Who's going?
Damn. Gun to head, I have to say it's Brown.
Really?
I just like,
After tonight?
Yeah, dude. I just like what Horton brings with makeup of. He just has. He has more to go longer as a starter. Let's put it that way, right?
What if I told you? I agree with that. I agree with the stuff. What if I told you I wouldn't take either one of them out?
So you're gonna go 6-man rotation type of deal?
Not necessarily. I've thrown that out there in the past because I don't hate that idea, and I would not hate it with the amount of innings that you need to spare these guys and rest in between, like the young guys, Brown and Horton, but
true.
And Boyd with the injury history and all that. And let's face it, Taillon's been very consistent with his innings and giving you a ton of innings over the since he's been a Cub, but he has a long track record before the Cubs of getting hurt all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then Shota with the oblique. I wouldn't hate that. But the guy I would probably take out right now, and he's been fantastic up until recently, it's Colin Ray.
It's Colin Ray. Damn, dude, that's big.
It's Colin Ray because I can't justify taking out the stuff of a Ben Brown the way he's looked the last two outings without seeing it at least a couple more times. You can always put Ray back in, but it's a lot more of a confidence shock for a Ben Brown to take him out. I think Ray's more flexible.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, man. Yeah, I just don't know if they'll do it, you know?
I don't know either.
But this is a season where they're doing things that we wouldn't expect them to do. They're pulling the trigger quicker. They're DFAing people a lot quicker. They're sending guys down a lot quicker. It's possible that they do. Because I really feel like they are in win now mode, which is great. That is the mode you need to be in.
Yeah.
And I wanted them in this mode last year. But now that they've kicked it into overdrive, it's fantastic. I like the quick hook. I like the moves that they've been making, especially with Shaw. Like that looks like one of the best moves they made all year. To send him down, fix his swing, bring him up. You only had probably a couple games lost at third base when he was down there because of just stupidity and errors. And like obviously you missed the bat too, but that was a huge move that they made to do that so early and so quickly. Not like the Cubs of last year, where they're going to let guys just struggle and struggle and struggle for long amounts of time. So you might be right. They might take Ray, put him in the bullpen, see what Brown's got for a couple more. It'd be really interesting. Like today, I feel like you'd have to do that because after the start by Brown against Skubal, how do you not? Especially with the small sample size of Ray lately. He's been kind of shaky at best.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that like that's going to remain the case. Like he didn't have a bad outing his last time out. It wasn't terrible.
No.
He didn't give up anything. Like he actually didn't give up anything.
But it's the stuff. Like you said, it's the stuff. Yeah, and that's a great point. I mean, Brown and Horton, they have the stuff, dude. They have the stuff. And Ray he's having a good year, but he doesn't have the stuff that's like the longevity of being successful all throughout the season, in my eyes. So you might be right. Ray might be a great long inning reliever, a great guy. Maybe you use him as a piggyback guy for Brown. If you know Brown gets into some trouble.
He's the Javier Assad like flexible guy, maybe because like
with Army knife.
Let's look at this way too. when he was brought in, he didn't start the season in the rotation.
Exactly.
He wasn't relied on to be a rotation guy. He's served that role perfectly. He's been great in that role. Don't get me wrong. But the front office and council, they know that they can put him in there. And I think that, I mean, you're not going to move Horton to the bullpen. You can if you need to, I think.
I don't think that's a good move.
I don't think it's a good move either. I think the one guy that like now has proven that he can do both, it's Colin Ray. And I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is. All I know is if Shota's not back till like the end of June or early July or whatever the case is, it's going to give us plenty of time that we need to find these answers. So, like, it's going to shake itself out for sure.
It is. You're gonna get a lot more starts from Brown. You're gonna see what he's really truly got. Right now, gun to the head, you have to keep him in there. You have to. It would make no sense to take him out of the rotation. Like you said, it makes more sense to drop Ray. Keep both of them. It's an interesting thing. It's really
We're getting into some.
I don't have this dilemma because, like you said, Shota's not coming back tomorrow.
So he's not, but yeah, I mean, I'm not even mad that he's not though. Like that's the whole thing. Like they've put themselves in such a good position despite the law. Look how positive we're ending the show on this note.
There you go. Look at that.
We started out so sour. Look at your name. Nick is sad, and all of a sudden look how good they are.
Yeah.
So
Nick is sad is kind of satire. I'm not sad about the season at all. I don't think any Cubs fan should be. And if you are, then you're an alarmist and you need to go watch some other baseball teams like the Colorado Rockies.
Oh God, please. I don't wish that on anyone.
Dude, that's horrible. And I shouldn't have made that comment.
I will say this
though. I will say this. Just a shot at the White Sox. Thanks a lot for being sucky enough to where they sat Skubal and waited for the Cubs. It backfired on the Tigers, but it also fucked over the Cubs at the same time. So thanks a lot, White Sox. White Sox fans, I'm sure you're excited about it because you need something to get excited about, which is good for you. But God damn it, get good so that they play starters. That sucked.
They're not worried about the Sox at all. That was bullshit. It was bullshit.
Total bullshit.
And Talkman went yard today.
He's gonna be a great trade piece for them.
Talk that talk, man. I still really like Talkman. I like Talkman.
Too bad you don't need him because it'd be cool to get him. But you're going all pitching at the deadline, I would imagine.
There's zero need for him on the Cubs. I respect him, and I feel terrible that that's who he's playing for this year. Anyways, nonetheless, Nick, what's on tap tomorrow? We have Tyon versus Kiter Montero, and then Sunday we have Cade Horton versus Jack Flaherty, 12:40 start time. Hopefully the Cubs can pick up. I mean, this series is not over. It could still, like they've done a few times this year, lose the first game, win the next two. That would be wonderful if they could pull that out. Jay in the comments, thanks for joining us here. He said, I will be in attendance for the Cubs Tigers in Detroit on Sunday afternoon.
Jealous.
Hey, very jealous. Have a great time, man, because you're going to get to watch Cade Horton. And that sounds like just a blast, especially hopefully they get a win for you, man. But, Nick, what do the Cubs need to do to – I won't say just win one. What do they need to do to win the series and just beat the Tigers in general?
The formula for tomorrow is Tyon goes 6 strong, just a quality start, 2, maybe 3 earned runs, fine, and then the Cubs can put up like 6. And then you let the bullpen go the rest of the way. Hopefully they only give up 1. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think you're going to blow them out by, any stretch of the imagination. But at the same time, this team has shown that they can do that. 2 good teams. So it's not out of the question that they go out there and just hammer the ball and put it in the gap and put up crooked numbers. So that would be the best case scenario. But I think your path to winning is for Tyone to have just a solid start, and then for you to just scrape some runs together. Maybe you get a home run or two. Like we said, you got to really put a charge into it. We know that guys are capable on this roster to do that. And then the Cade Horton game. That's one, and I say this every time Horton takes the bump, and I'm going to continue to say it every time he takes the bump because he's a young guy with the stuff, but he's a young guy. You take the pressure off of him. You, the offense, take the pressure off of him. If you can do that, he can throw strikes. He can get that soft contact. He can go deeper into the game. That's the key with Horton. He's not going to throw a lot of pitches. So if you want to get length, you got to put him in a position to where he can throw strikes. And he doesn't have to be so finessey. So, and by the way, that's the word I created the other day, finessey. For anyone that's been on the show the other day, it's my word now. So it's a real word. I'm talking with the dictionary people. We're going to put that into writing, finessey.
Webster's Merriam. You're gonna all right.
Yeah, for Merriam. Yeah, for baseball, that is the new word. So then he doesn't have to get so finessey and throw strikes, get deep into the game. Cubs offense, just pound them. That's the formula.
I like that formula. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think if they can give him some run support, give him a little bit more margin for error, kind of like what we're talking about with Palencia, where maybe he's out there shit pumping and he gives himself a little bit more margin for error. But you don't have to be as pinpoint. You can just go out there and strike one, strike two. Let's say they hit a solo shot, a couple of solo shots. Fine, big deal. First of all, it's a big ballpark. It's hard to hit it out there. So I would just be on attack mode anyways if I'm a guy like Cade Horton with that stuff. But it'd be nice to get the guy at least, 4, 5, 6 runs up on the board and put yourself in a really nice position. That would just be wonderful. I do also want to mention that I think we also created something else, Nick. The other night, did we create like our own like merged Bochy Club, baseball Bochy Club?
It seems like we might have created our own Bochy Club. Yep, correct. I think so.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to play some Bochy this summer, 100%.
That needs to be like an on tap. There needs to be the on tap Bochy Club. But
oh yeah,
Bruce Bochy's the face.
Bruce Bochy is the face. Yep, 100%. And we're gonna make that happen. Whoever wants to join from on tap has to join. And we'll just play some Bochy, drink some brewskis, crack them, have a good time. I'm gonna bring some Italian food. It's gonna be wild.
What in the? Did you say your mom's chicken parm?
Yep. Laura Ancona, my mom, can throw down. I'm bringing trays.
Oh God,
food. We're gonna have to be rolled out of there. But yeah, the Bochy Club is happening, man.
You're only invited if you know how to pronounce it, though.
Yeah, you got to pronounce it Bochy.
Yeah,
that's how we pronounce it.
So I have someone else on my side.
Yep, Bochy.
Is that what we're saying now? Because
Bochy ball.
All right, Ron. I hope you're listening.
Yeah, Ron. That's how you pronounce it.
Hope you're listening, Ron. We didn't even have to discuss this before the show.
We did not discuss this off air at all. This is natural. It's Bochy ball.
Yeah, there you go. On that note, Nick, final thoughts for tonight's game and what you might be looking at tomorrow, whatever the case may be, before we go ahead and wrap this thing up tonight.
Final thoughts. Tonight's game sucked. I fucking hate the Cardinals so much. Hate them. They're still the Fugazi Cardinals to me, and they will be all the way till game 162. And go get a win tomorrow while I'm golfing, hitting the ball into the water, slicing it every which way,
Don't jinx yourself.
No,
It's the reverse jinx.
it's a reverse jinx. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And make it a fun day for everyone. Today was not a fun day, but we have a fun team. So just keep on keeping on, Cubs fans.
Keep on trucking, baby. Keep on keeping on. I love it. Well,
Yep.
hopefully golf goes well for you, Nick, tomorrow.
Thank you,
And
sir.
keep me an update. Send it in the chat or send me a text. Let me know what you shoot tomorrow. Hopefully you're not too far into the water, or at all. You can't be in the water at all. Not too far into the rough. You actually play pretty well tomorrow. Have a brew or two for me. And yeah, hopefully the Cubs can pull out a W tomorrow, even this thing out, and then get a W for Jay since he'll be there
Yep.
on Sunday. It was good to see how many Cubs were in attendance tonight. Cub fans, excuse my language, excuse what I'm saying. I didn't say anything bad. It's not a curse word. Fuck me, fuck that. But no, just hopefully everyone that is making the trip the rest of the series has a great time, because Detroit is not too far. I'm actually very jealous because I wanted to make that trip this year and visit my uncle, and I just could not. It was not in the cards this year for me, but have a great time. Hopefully the Cubs can pull out the series victory, an 8th straight series victory if they do it, even though their back's up against the wall here. But with that said, great Friday night. Throwback show.
We're bringing these back when we can. Tune in. Keep your eyes peeled for these special Friday night episodes.
That's right. I guess I'm supposed to do the host duty. If you want to check out the content, which you should, it's great content, go to ontapsportsnet.com. You can follow all of our socials at ontapsportsnet. Main account, Bulls, Bears, Blackhawks, Cubs, golf, of course. I'm contributing to that every other week, doing the betting shows, and Jack and the guys are doing a great job there. So definitely tune in and listen to Jack and Ross, and look at all those golf content articles. Another major's on the way, right around the corner. So next week's going to be a busy week for that. And Cubs on Tap social account. You can follow the Facebook page, which we're trying to boot up. There, getting some more stuff put out over there. But of course on X, as always, and TikTok, at X on or Twitter, however you know it by, at Cubbies on Tap, CUBBIES on Tap. Nick is at Nick_on Tap. Follow all the rest of the guys too. I am at Joey Knows Nothing. We are Cubs on Tap. And Nick, what do you say we get on out of here the only way we know how to do every single time?
FTFC. Fuck the Fugazi Cardinals.
And let's go Cubbies.